Hi, everybody. All right, so the Senate just passed a bill to include women in the draft. Senate passes defense bill including women in draft. The idea that we should forcibly conscript young girls into combat, to my mind, makes little to no sense. Senator Ted Cruz, AP. Well, I guess that's probably one of the reasons why he didn't make it into the ending part of the presidentials. It's this simple. If you want to make a living, you serve in the military, and that's that. Unfortunately, I couldn't due to medical problems, and those bastards can all burn in hell. Who allowed anyone to make those choices? Anyways, Senate said Tuesday in a sweeping defense policy bill that included among its many Pentagon reforms a provision requiring women to register for the draft. Remember, it's a bill; it's not made into law yet, folks. The Senate approved the National Defense Authorization Act 8513, but some Republicans voted against it because it contained a requirement to register women with the Selective Service System. The proposal was not considered on the Senate floor since it was included in the bill that emerged from the Armed Services Committee. But the issue loomed large over the final vote. Heritage Action, the conservative advocacy arm of the Heritage Foundation, deemed the defense policy bill a key vote that would count on its annual lawmaker scorecards because of its draft language. It's a radical change that American people, said Ted Cruz. The idea that we should forcibly conscript young girls into combat, to my mind, makes little no sense. It is a minimum, a radical it is at a minimum a radical proposition. I could not vote for this bill. That did so, particularly that did so without the public debate. Well, there is no public debate. If men can do it, so can women. They've been doing it for nearly 400 years in this historical cycle, and they've done it in prior historical cycles. In all, Republicans voted 48-6 on the bill, which authorizes $602 billion in defense spending for the new 2017 fiscal year. Democrats voted 37-7. Some Republicans, however, supported the inclusion of women in the draft service, now only required of men 18 to 26. Senate Armed Services Chairman John McCain, Arizona, backed it during closed committee markup where a vote stripped the provision, failed 7-19, and split the Republicans 7-7. Every uniformed leader of the United States military seemed to have different opinion from the senator from Texas whose military background is non-existent or is not extensive, McCain said on the floor. After months of rigorous oversight, a large bipartisan majority of Armed Service committee agreed that there is simply no further justification to limit selective service registration to men. I completely agree. There's nothing. In fact, I think it shouldn't even be limited to, nothing should be limited to men. If you get in it and you can make your way in it and you're healthy enough for the training and everything, yes, you should be considered available. I mean, this should have been over and done with in the 1900s. And we're debating it nearly 100 years later. Almost 120 years later. It's this simple. If your brothers, husbands, and sons can go off and die, so can your wives, daughters, mothers, and aunts. It's just that simple. Now, it's unfortunate that it didn't pass this time. But I'm telling you folks, it's coming. And I, for one, am very happy with it. I've known several women who have fought or have served in the military who've gone overseas. My nephew married a woman he met while he was in the military. So, hell, I think it's actually a great place for people to meet the person they're going to marry. And I'm all for it. Women should be drafted. The military should never have been a boys' club. I mean, look at all the nurses and stuff that followed them around in the 1700s and stuff. We all know what those ladies were doing when they were in combat. Same thing the guys were doing when the women weren't around and they were going into the villages and stuff. Well, boys will be boys, women will be women. And yes, if you want to come back and make a earning and everything as a human being, yes, you should definitely sign up for that selective service. So I have long since passed my age where I am going to be called up if something does happen. 26 went out the window a long time ago. And it is and always has been a situation where if you can walk and talk and carry a gun, your ass better be in either the Army, Navy, Marines going out, Air Force, etc., or your ass better be in a militia, which the United States doesn't recognize, heading out with the Army. But that's to be decided, and they won't vote on it yet because they know that they would have to encounter every single militia group in the United States into the Army. And they know when that happens, policies go out the fucking window because they know what that will mean. Basically, at that point, everybody would be paid a certain amount extra for all the natural resources and shit we rape out of the countries we go into. The Middle Eastern oil, etc., you'd get like 0.005% of the bounty going to Russia and the gold and diamond mines and shit they got up in that area. You'd get a certain percentage, and they can't do that with large scale armies because large scale armies want that sort of thing. And the smaller the army, the less they know they're there to occupy for natural rights or natural resources. I apologize. And they think they're there for some war on this, war on that platform. So I completely agree that women should be drafted. Thank you. And I'm sorry the Senate bill did not pass. I'm certain it'll pass by 2020, I imagine. Thank you.